honest, I'm not defensive about it.
Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video, guys. First things first, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And Chelsea kicked off their pre-season campaign with a 2-2 draw against Wrexham on Wednesday night in America, early hours of Thursday morning in the UK. Big up to anyone that stayed up till 3:30 a.m. to watch it. Yeah, you know, Christopher Nkunku and Leslie Ugochukwu with the goals. Ugochukwu's equalised at 8 minutes from the end, rescuing a draw for the Blues. And look, you know, obviously you always want to win games, but pre-season's not about the results. It's about getting the fitness in the legs, getting the minutes under the players' belts, getting, you know, working on tactical ideas, working on a structure and identity and whatnot. And we did see signs of that in the game against Wrexham. But I think it's really important at this stage of the season as well, by the way, of pre-season, not to get carried away with the positives and not to be critical on the things that weren't so good, because it's the first game of pre-season. We've been in the States less than 48 hours before this game. A lot of heavy training sessions have been taking place over the past couple of weeks. And so you're going to expect a little bit of a disjointed performance. But, you know, as long as that improves over the tour and we sharpen up and we fine-tune things as we head towards the start of the season, I don't think it's a massive problem. But there were definitely some positives, and I'm going to dive into the positives as well. I mean, the first thing for me is obviously the injured players returning and seeing them back in action, the likes of your Lavias, your Chukwuemeka's, your Reece Jameses, your Nkunku's, your Wesley Fofana's, and then also seeing some of the new boys as well, seeing Mark Guiu play, seeing Tosin playing at the back. Dewsbury Hall missed this game with a slight knock, so hopefully we'll see him make his debut against Celtic at the weekend. But I think what we did get was an early glimpse into how the team are going to shape up. And obviously in the first half, we had Reece James inverting into midfield to sit alongside Romeo Lavia, and then you had Chukwuemeka and Nkunku sort of playing in those advanced number 8 roles, kind of pushing forward into those pockets of space. And then you had down the wings, Tyreek George, the youngster who impressed, and Madueke, who was a threat as well. They were really tight as well. They were hugging the touchline down the right and left-hand side. You know, a real, you know, hallmark of a Maresca system. He likes those wingers high and wide and causing problems. And do you know what? Fair play. They did cause problems, put a lot of balls into the box with directs, taking their men on. And then we obviously had Mark Guiu leading the line as well, who looks quite good. Movement was decent. He was pressing from the front. But again, I'm hesitant to sort of go overboard with the praise, because you'd expect someone who's had an upbringing at Barcelona, come through La Masia, to look half decent against League One opposition. But, you know, it was nice to see him. And he looks like he could potentially be a handful. And I have to say, you know, the first half, the system looked like it was working well. But as you can imagine, it was nowhere near sort of as slick in the second half. Well, of course, you know, I think he made 10 changes at the break. I think Chukwuemeka was the only player to stay on. Reece James was replaced by Malagusto, who then inverted into the midfield in the second half. But look, Chelsea lost a bit of control in the second half. I think we've got to be honest, guys. We lost a bit of control in the second half, as you would expect with that many changes. And, you know, there's a bit of rust still, you know. It's what you expect from a first pre-season game. Lots of rust, lots of cobwebs to blow off. Second half did go a little bit wayward. Positives to build on. And, you know, you saw the structure come together in moments. And, you know, that's going to get better the more minutes there are in a tank and the more work we do under this manager. And what I would say as well, guys, is that a big plus for me was early signs of Bernardo Cueva, the new set-piece coach. Looks like his work is paying a little bit of dividends already. You know, we look threatening from set pieces. You know, we often found ourselves kind of one-on-one with you know, from corners. You know, so not one-on-one. We were finding our own guys with corners. You know, James whipping a lot of decent crosses in, and it looks like, you know, Cueva's maybe, you know, making a difference in that front. And we actually scored. The opening goal came from a corner with Christopher Nkunku with the ball loose in the box and him lashing it home. So that was a positive as well. You know, I thought Romeo Lavia looked really good as well. I mean, literally, he played more minutes, guys, in last night against Wrexham, 45 minutes, than he managed in the whole of last season. And, he looks really impressive. He looks calm in possession. He was, he provided some much needed protection in the midfield, which I think was lacking a lot at times last season. And this is a huge, huge campaign for him because there's a really good midfielder in there and he's got the quality and you can see what he brings to the team. We've just got to keep this guy fit. We just have to keep him fit. It really is as simple as that. We have to keep him fit. Likewise with Wesley Fofana, he perhaps wasn't as impressive, but he's been out for over a year. He did look a little bit rusty, but he showed signs of that, aggressive front foot defending that he does. And look, we've got to be patient with him. It's going to take him a lot of time. He's not played football for over a year. And yeah, it's just great to have these guys back on the pitch. Let's build them up and let's hope we can rely on them for the upcoming season because they're going to have a really, really key role to play. What I would say, though, is that we did also see the risks of what Maresca's style is going to bring. I mean, he openly admitted himself that after the game that, we are going to concede goals playing out from the back. And we, in this game, conceded 2 sloppy goals, after twice losing possession in our own half. And that's going to be an inevitable risk when you focus on playing out from the back. And Maresca's going to have to work on making sure that the team are ready for when they lose the ball because the defending in those transitions when we lost it, I've got to be honest, it was really quite poor. But at the end of the day, guys, this is what friendlies are for. Mistakes can be made in them. It doesn't matter that much. And then you can hopefully take that on board and you can learn from them and then rectify that in the games going forward. I think that's the most important thing for me. But yeah, that was a slight concern for me, is that how poorly we defended in transitions and how easily we gave up the ball in our own half and conceded two sloppy goals, which is not exactly what you want. But yeah, preseason games are for learning from, there for making mistakes in, and yeah, let's hope we can rectify that going forwards. We also saw Robert Sanchez playing goal for the first half. I thought he done okay. He made a few decent saves, looked okay with the ball at his feet. But again, it's hard to draw sort of too many conclusions into 45 minutes against the League One opposition. But yeah, I'm pleased, with what I saw, to be perfectly honest. We've got there were positives in the attack. I thought the attack looked fluid. I thought the midfield was good. As I said, defensively, we're a little bit concerning. So, yeah, I think positives to take. It's for sure things to improve on. But what was the most important thing for me was, and it was something that was massively lacking last season, is that we're already starting to see the identity of the team, and there is 100% an identity there. Chelsea didn't really have an identity last season, and an identity as a team and as a football club is so important. And already, with a few weeks training under the belt, with one pre-season game, you can already see what Maresca's looking to do. You can already see the identity. You can see what the plans are. And now it's about spending that time on the training pitch, working on, getting more used to the idea, cutting those mistakes out. And look, mistakes are going to be made, but we need to keep those mistakes to a minimum. Work on our defending when we lose the ball in our own half, which will inevitably happen when you do play out from the back. And I think there's reason to be optimistic. Obviously, we've got to accept that, the level of opposition wasn't the best. I think Wrexham are obviously a few more games into their pre-season than we are. But obviously, it's going to be a level up against Celtic at the weekend. And we got to take the positives there for sure. Again, more minutes under the belt for more players. But what I'd like to see is a bit more of the same. Less mistakes playing out from the back. Try not to concede sloppy goals. And kind of just a continuation of what we saw from this one, but just kind of make sure that we do it better, basically. It's as simple as that, really, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, overall, guys, I think things to be pleased with. Also, a few things to maybe be a little bit concerned on, but generally speaking, I think we can be happy with with the 90 minutes that we saw from Chelsea. But we're by no means the finished article whatsoever. And yeah, you just have to take the rough with the smooth in these games. You know, pre-season is not about the results. Obviously, you don't want, you know, confidence sapping heavy defeats, but you just want to make sure that, you know, the team's improving and you're moving in the right direction. And if you do that by picking up positive results along the way, fantastic. But ultimately, no one cares what you do in pre-season in terms of your results. You're not going to look back on the campaign and think, oh, fuck me, you know, we had a great pre-season, but we ended up finishing 6th or 7th. I mean, just as an example, we beat Wrexham 5-0 in pre-season under Pochettino. And obviously this time round, we've had a 2-2 draw. Obviously different managers, different team, different circumstances and whatnot. But still, you know, it just goes to show that you shouldn't read too much into these results at the end of the day. That's exactly what you shouldn't do, is to read too much into them. You know, just as you should be praising things that were good and maybe criticize things that weren't so good, it's important not to go overboard either way. Because I think we're all smart enough to know not to get excited about a pre-season outing against the League One side. You know, far too much, I think, is being made from a lot of people about a game which is ultimately a glorified training session to get fitness and get the season going. I think it's almost irrelevant to a certain degree whether it was good or whether it was bad. I think you've got to take more from the games against like your Real Madrids, your Cities, your Inters and whatnot, which is going to be the final dress rehearsal. But, you know, ultimately we've got the season's going to be very long. And we didn't really get going until March last year. So we need to make sure that, you know, we are ready to go from the off, because we only had 3 wins in our first 10 Premier League games last season. So we need to make sure we're ready for the campaign ahead. But yeah, look, reasons to be positive, a few things that need working on. But overall, I think we can be happy with what we saw from Chelsea against Wrexham. So yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you again in another one soon. Up the Chelsea and peace out.